I think it's a testament to Michael's experiences, to him choosing the role where he's in a nice air-conditioned chair with massage seats in the car, and 3.5 hours of prosthetic makeup where you have to stand completely still while they kind of paint on you. And and then I run around the desert in my underwear. So yeah, I think I definitely pulled the short straw, I think.
Well, I was the producer, so it's one of your better acting jobs, I find, when you're wearing both hats, because the joy of acting, even if it is, and Jeremy's extraordinary, his discipline and his tenacity to take it on, but acting, they pay you to focus on your part and your role, whereas producing, you have to see it like a 360-degree vision of what you got, what's going on. So I usually don't enjoy it a whole lot. Although I enjoy the risk-taking, the physical aspects of sort of being outside and in an environment. I mean, I think back to Romancing the Stone, the Ghost in the Darkness productions that I did that were in rough locations. And it creates an esprit de corps, kind of brings everybody together. Not much else you can do out there in the Navajo Nation. About an hour and a half, if you're lucky, from your hotel room bed. And so it brings the best out of everybody, or it doesn't. And in this case, we were very fortunate, a great Mexican crew, made up of a lot of people who love mountain bikes and hiking and this and that. This is just the kind of picture that they wanted to be involved in, and I think it was sort of inspirational for both of us, just watching these guys climb up the rocks and go at it. But Jeremy, in the same way I speak about Kathleen Turner not being able to make that movie without her help and support, not knowing many other actresses who could put up with all of the things that she put up with. I feel the same way with Jeremy. I don't know many actors who would have dealt with this barefoot in his skivvies. Nice abs.
Well, yeah, that was tough, yeah.
Well, except, I mean, the game, he was not very nice. He was not very nice from the beginning, and you sort of.
But he was kind of the victim in that one.
Sorry?
He was kind of the victim.
But he was the victim in that one, exactly. So that's why you can do it. On the other ones, I'm thinking of, well, let's see, Perfect Murder. I guess we certainly have in Gordon, of course, Gordon Gekko, and Maida. It's just, I say, it's bad. It's good to be bad. It's fun. You have to enjoy it, and you really do. You're kind of above everything. You can pay off anybody. You have no moral compass. You just try to make them as charming as possible and fun, so everybody kind of says, I'd like to be that guy. I mean, I sort of learned that after Wall Street, because I couldn't, he went to prison. And if I had, one more guy from Wall Street going, man, you're the man, you're why I got into this business. And I said, I went to jail. Oh, come on, it's okay. That's nothing. So they, people go for the clothes, they go for that look. And so it's fun. And then you can kind of twist it around. Once you kind of seduced and brought them in, then you can show them how bad you can really be. What is my luxury?
Luxury treatment.
Takes young guys out to the desert.
That's what I do. I say, tell young actors, you're gonna love it. It's a beautiful part of the country you've never seen before. You don't have much wardrobe to worry about. The makeup. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I know the sunburn. Because we don't want you to get sunburned, because you have to look like you're sunburned, 2 or 3 different levels, so you have to put on this special stuff. I mean, for me, my luxury would be boats. I like to charter boats, sailboats. Just take the family, go off. We're scuba divers. Like to dive, puppies.
You own boat?
I don't own a boat. No, I rent a boat. That flies or rent it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was, with anything like this, it's always very nerve-wracking, I think, if you think about it too much. But then I was Michael asked me to come and audition and read with him at his place in New York, and was so warm and welcoming from the start. And you know, it's clearly just someone who loves making movies and loves what he does. And you know, that's infectious. You know, when someone that you're working across is obviously enjoying it so much, then you're loving it too.
How was it with the Duval?
Robert Duvall. Yeah, no, he's. I mean, he's an intense actor to work with. Very intense. But you know, likewise, was actually was incredibly kind to me. You know, I think he certainly, I think, sympathised with you know, being a young actor in one of your first gigs. So yeah, kind of a similar thing. But obviously, you know, two guys have had incredible careers, and I don't know. Yeah, there's something that comes with that which I feel, you know, you kind of feel like a lot of these people don't have anything to prove. So they're just, you know, nice, genuine guys. Yeah.
I felt he had certainly style, and he had a sense of. You talking about Carré Blanc?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, he had a sense of mystery, of thriller, that I thought it'd be, and he was passionate about this. He has a tremendous love for westerns. Talked about it, his history and his knowledge of John Ford, so I thought it'd be sometimes, you know, somebody from a different country has a new twist on an old form. So it's kind of a combination. His passion and the fact of his filmmaking and his style, I thought would be a good fit. Well, as an American actor, I'm not very good on accents, you know, because I have the privilege of, you know, being in this large American industry that you hardly have ever called upon. I'm so impressed with the number of British actors, in particular. Although even Jeremy's love interest in this movie, she's Australian. But they have learned, and for some reason, they are, right or wrong, taking a lot of parts away from Americans, just because of their good acting. I mean, we didn't go out of our way to have a British actor for this part. You think, 19-year-old kid from New Mexico, but so he pulled it off right from the very beginning, and I think there's a seriousness about Jeremy, not necessarily on camera, but just about how he goes at his craft. It's missing in a lot of actors here. A lot of American actors seem to be more concerned with their image, their kind of image, their YouTube image, or whatever it might be, rather than just playing the part. And so Jeremy proved to be so committed to the role, and it was, I'm sure, a lot more difficult than he ever anticipated. The physical aspects of the movie. Never once complained. On several occasions would go for that additional take that he wanted, even though it was, you know. And so that's the kind of actor you want to be around, because that sets the tone. That sets the tone for your picture. Everybody else then picks up on it and wants to try to match the quality that he's trying to achieve.
Incredibly kind. I think I'd say exactly you know, it's kind of the same sort of thing back to Michael, in that, you know, when you see someone who's you know, so motivated, and yeah, I remember one day we're up mountains, and there's no vehicles to carry the stuff around. We have to move from spot to spot, and you know, seeing Michael pick up his own chair and carry that up to the next spot, and yeah, you know, there's I don't know, it kind of, I wouldn't say took me by surprise, but it certainly was very inspiring. Seeing someone who's just, yeah, he just loves being in movies. Yeah.
Also, he's done his homework before. Never shows it. That makes it look like it comes natural, but you clearly know that he's well prepared. He's done his homework.
Well, that's the fear of screwing up. That's a really good motivational tool, I find. Yeah.
I think Well, all of it is beautiful. I think our finale, the location for our finale, where he's up on top and then he comes down and sneaks in on it. The day that we went up there, and I looked at the director and I said, you gotta be kidding me. Now, we had that vehicle, that incredible 6-wheeled double-axle Mercedes that does actually cost $500,000, $600,000. I mean, it was at an angle, it's even hard to say, it was like at an angle like this, which meant that we all had to, none of the other vehicles, we had to climb up to that location up there, and then had a day scene, and then we had a whole night sequence with the throwing of the dynamite and all of that. And there was nothing up there. I mean, there was no facilities, no porta potties, nothing.
Well, rattlesnakes. But
a lot of rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
A lot of rattlesnakes. And I think that was probably I knew really, and I, again, the producer, I said, oh man, somebody's gonna get hurt here, somebody. And these guys, this crew from New Mexico, there's a reason they're there, they're all mountain bike riders, they're hikers, and they're carrying these things up, and at nighttime, you can't see them, they're jumping around, and it's just sharp, sharp rocks, all of it just coming down off this mountain. I was concerned about that location.
Yeah, stuff.
How about you, Jeremy? Any
The feet definitely, in terms of you have something called goat's heads, which is a little bit of cactus that really get in there and then don't want to come out. Also, I mean, coming from having read the script in my London apartment, getting on a plane, then suddenly being this completely mad alien kind of environment. Snakes like heat, and so they like being under lights. But then also that's where the actor goes. So that was a learning curve for me. First time you hear like that, what the hell was that? Yeah.
This Beyond the Reach is based on a book that I read in 1972 called Death Watch by Rob White. And Rob was a kind of a young adult writer, used to write stories. Obviously back then I sort of identified with Jeremy's character, but I remembered it being this really exciting page turner book. I ended up acquiring a literary company. I acquired a company that had the rights to like Damon Runyon, Cornell Woolridge, Shirley Jackson, and Rob White. And I'm looking through the list and I see Death Watch. I read that a while ago. That's a great little two-hander. I thought, okay, that'd be a little small indie picture. Thinking we could do it. How difficult could it be? We go in the desert, the two of us. So I got Steve Susko, writer. We put a good screenplay together, and then I got Jean-Baptiste came involved, and I thought there would be just a fun thriller to make. And that's sort of how it came about.
What were you thinking?
Well, I mean,
wasn't thinking.
yeah. No, I mean, obviously when, first of all, when you hear someone like Michael's involved, then any young actor's gonna jump at that. But for me, the script was, it's just such a page turner. There's almost no dialogue in the script, which I found really kind of quite appealing, actually. The idea of you're gonna have to do this all without words, and that's different. I find actually some of the scripts a lot of writers rely very heavily on the dialogue, and this was cool. This was literally kind of 90 pages of stage direction. And the challenge of doing it, the challenge of knowing it was going to be tough. I don't think I knew how tough it was going to be, but like I said, in my apartment in London, it all sounded very romantic, and the challenge was appealing.
I like thrillers. Generally I love trying to do a thriller. This was like, it's about challenges. How do you do a thriller in bright sunshine, out in the desert with not a lot of things to hide behind? And so I thought the script evolved and did that well. It kind of was clever and sort of finding different ways to have twists and turns. The basic premise was the same. Obviously, between the 70s and now, we updated it as far as the Madak character was concerned. Ben was in principle. What we saw a little more, everything was a little more naive back in the early 70s than it is today. So there were aspects of it, you know, emergency transponders, just like that, cell phones, things that we added. If I give you a tidbit, I get a marble blowgun in the back of my head. I have never seen a company that is more, you know, conscious of their yeah, it looks good. We just did a couple of days of reshooting this ADR. First time I've seen a lot of it. It's, my kids are going to be very happy. Yeah, no, it's great, and I think tonally, you know, these guys have not missed yet, this Marvel guys, but you know, from the Avengers and everything, I think this is more in the tone of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's got some humor. You know, Paul's does a great job.
I am certainly. I mean, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy was a really cool film. I think. Yeah, I love it. I a movie that kind of is a little, you know, a little tongue in cheek and can laugh at itself in places. I love that, and I think actually Beyond the Reach has got a couple of moments where we kind of, yeah, it's a little bit kind of, yeah, a little bit takes the fun out of itself in places, which I think is great.
Now, where's the audition experience?
How did you overcome? Yeah, think back there.
Well, you know, I did terrible auditions. I have terrible stage fright. I did, you know, terrible stage fright, and was very, very nervous, and so generally was not very successful in many of my auditions. I auditioned a lot, you know, because I didn't get a lot of parts. I think the secret of an audition is to see if you can get it in the morning. Get the audition in the morning rather than the afternoon, because they've seen, maybe, depending on the parts or whatever, they could see 40 people that day. And when you get them after lunch, and they might have had a drink or two, and you know, they just don't even know. So get there, you know, get them in the morning. That's when you want to have your audition. But I can't necessarily think of my worst one. There's some pretty bad ones.
I had one the other day where I got so nervous, and yeah, because they're terrible. They're terrible kind of for a measure of how well you can act. You're going into a cold room in front of a load of people that you don't know, and you know they're judging you, so it's just the worst. There's nothing like how you're going to be on set most of the time, but there's an art to it. But I got it wrong and left, and then the director came out. He went, "Jerry, can you just come back in?" And he goes, so I came back in, he sat me down, he goes, "Now, listen, I know you can act." So I went, yeah, I think we're done here. Yeah, would you like to try it again? Nah.
Yeah. And Candy Bergen's got a new book out now. She tells the story when she was trying out for Murphy Brown. It was horrendous. Just everything went wrong. It was just horrendous. But I think they were not going to use it. But this one woman, you know, the producer of the network, fought for her.
Wow, really?
Entertainment. Yeah, a lot of people don't do great auditions. Well, you're referring to the one about anti-Semitism,
yeah.
And my family's been supportive. I mean, I didn't want to sort of drag my son into this whole discussion, but he has, and the reaction has been, you know, it went viral. You know, it's been picked up all over the world. I mean, I think it has a little bit to do with being a celebrity, not that it was so well written, and it's just, you know, it's an issue. It's important to just bring up to the surface. I mean, even today I saw in the LA Times an issue with a young lady at Stanford University trying to, you know, running for office at Stanford University, where this issue kind of has come up, and it's going around on campuses. And sometimes, you know, you got to separate politics of a country, you know, from its religion. But we'll see. It's going to be an issue which I'm going to be involved with for at least the next year or so, because of a prize, this Genesis Prize, which I was awarded this year, which started out as $1 million prize, and now it's going to excel. It's the second year. Mayor Bloomberg got it last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.